Hey you all, so welcome back to my channel. If you guys saw my interview video, go to a job interview with me at CityMD Summit Health, I interview as a medical assistant, then you're probably wondering, what are the updates? Did you get hired? If you got hired, what's the training like? If you didn't get hired, what are your future plans? So I'm just going to get into that. First, before I talk about the interview itself, I just want to talk about what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. First, I want to say that shortly after my job interview, I took my registered medical assistant exam. For those of you in the medical assistant field, you know that there's a certified medical assistant exam and there's a registered medical assistant exam. So with the certified medical assistant exam, you can only work in the state of New York. But with the registered medical assistant exam, you can work across 50 states. So at the school that I attended the Allen School of Health Sciences in Jamaica, New York, in Queens. They encouraged us to take the RMA exam. And the tools that I used to help me study for the RMA exam was the Canva website. I may include like a short video about how I navigated the Canva site within the same video. But basically, there was just a whole bunch of practice tests. The practice tests usually had 50 multiple choice questions, but if you wanted to challenge yourself and time yourself, you can do up to 150 multiple choice questions at a time.
So this is the Cam Infrastructure website. My school had given me a login so that I could sign into this resource. Here we're going to go to the Student Resource Center. There's different categories. So for example, I'm just pressing onto the practice exams. You see they're divided into different chapters. And there's over 40 different chapters talking about like medical billing, the different body systems, vital signs, infection control, urinalysis, hematology, just to name a few. The last chapter is actually chapter 59. This is just the physical form for internship. We're just back to the test prep. You can take as much as 125 to 150 questions just to time yourself. On the next page, it just gives you some interview tips, common questions that you may hear, different resumes. My school was the Allen School, which tells us how to say contact with our advisors. So the different practices taught us are healthcare, administrative, medical assistant, lab skills. On this particular one, I did 3 attempts. The highest score I got was a 37 out of 50. This is just going over some of the questions I got right, some of the questions I got wrong. So basically, I just used this answer key at the end, just to help me figure out like where I made my mistakes. And the test that I took with 125 questions, I only did 1 attempt, and it took me 84 minutes to get a 78 out of 125. Again, this is showing me the questions that I got wrong, questions I got right, and I just go to this answer key at the end just to go over different things. I feel like in anatomy, I'm pretty good. I got a 55 out of 75 on my highest attempt. So again, these are just what I got right, what I got wrong. Obviously referring back to the textbook and referring back to this as well. Basically seeing what are my strengths and my weaknesses. The textbook that we used was the Pearson's Comprehensive Medical Assistant 4th edition. Again, like the practice tests were based off of the chapters from this particular ebook. So for the school I attended, I believe the cost of the ebook was included in our tuition. I'm not sure exactly how much This textbook will cost separately.
The actual RMA exam that I took had 220 questions. So I started training myself at doing 50 questions at a time. And I would try to do the 50 multiple choice questions in about 20 minutes. Because on the medical assistant exam, you get 2 hours and 30 minutes to answer 220 questions. So basically, if you do like 50 into 200, that's basically, 40. Wait, no, 50 times 4 is 200. So basically, you would have to do, wait, the math is not, anyway, I don't know why I tried to do math just now, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. I just confused myself. I probably confused you guys, but I was just, yeah. So, yeah, so the first time I tried to take my registered medical assistant exam, I tried to take it from home, and it was a virtual test. And so basically I had a proctor, and they asked to see a 360 of the room. And so the first proctor I had, I showed them a 360 of the room. They gave me the go ahead to take the test. But then in the middle of me taking the test, they switched proctors. And so now this new proctor asked to see a 360 of the room again. And so when I did that, the proctor saw my son sleeping. And basically, like, one of the rules of taking the exam is that you can't have any third parties in the room with you, making noise or even being in your presence while you're taking this exam. So basically, the proctor was just like, I have to shut down your test. Mind you, I was on question like 93. So basically, she was like, I have to shut down your test. And I just, in that moment, I didn't even know what to do. So I just literally, like, I was pleading with the proctor, just, maybe can she give me the benefit of the doubt? My son is only 2 years old. It's not like he can, you know, articulate the answers to the exam because he's just a toddler. And it's not like he was like coming up in the camera, making noise or saying mommy, mommy or anything. He was sleeping. I had took the test at 5 a.m. So basically you can take the test as late as 12 a.m. No, as early as 12 a.m. No, anyway, as early as 12 p.m., as late as 12 a.m. So you basically get the whole 24 hours you can try to schedule a test. So me, the time slot I chose to do was from 5 a.m. to 7:30. Because my son, he usually wakes up at like between 8:30 in the morning. So I knew that if I took the test from 5 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., that I would be done. And, I would still have a little bit of time before he woke up in the morning. So she shut down the test. And they sent me my score back, and I had a 62. So that's a failing grade. So in order to pass the registered medical assistant exam, you need a 70. So I got a 62. And for me, in my head, even though I was upset that they shut down my test, like in my head, I'm like, okay, I only answered 90 something questions and I got a 62. So, I must have been doing something right studying wise. So being that I failed that test in July, I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself some time to take the test. So they also have another rule saying that you cannot retake the test until 45 days has passed. So from July 25th, 45 days from July 25th was September 8th. So, but you can't take the test exactly on that 45th day. And at first I was trying to take the test exactly on September 8th, but they wouldn't allow me. So I decided to schedule it for September 23rd. So this time, instead of doing it from home, I went to one of their in-person testing sites. Basically, you have to put your bag in a locker. You have to get your hand scanned. they have to take your photo. So I may also embed a video of the testing site because I did record a little bit while I was there while I still had my phone. Obviously, I couldn't record while I was taking an exam or while I was taking my picture for security reasons. But when I first got in, I did record a little bit.
The building where this testing site was huge. It was actually a college, but within the college, they also have like other offices such as like law firms, doctors' offices, testing centers, etc. The name of the testing center is Pearson View, aka Pearson Professional Centers. See, it's like a waiting room.
It's September 23rd now. I'm taking my exam. I'm pretty confident about it. Right before the exam, there was like a restaurant across the street, Texas Chicken and Burger. So I just got some chicken tenders and fries. And then, after I ate, I was actually early to the exam too, because I was supposed to take my exam from 4:30 to 6:30. But I think when I got to the area, it was like 3 o'clock. No, it was like 2:30. So I was like, okay, let me get something to eat at the Texas. And then after the Texas, let me see if I can check in at the site. Because even though my test was at 4:30, you have to check in at 4 o'clock. So it's like 3:30 now. And I go to the check-in site and I'm like, hi, I gave them my name and I basically told them that my check-in time is at 4:30, but I want to know if I can check in earlier. So the guy said, yeah, you can definitely start your test early if you want. So basically he processed me for the check-in. He allowed me to sit. They gave me like this whiteboard with a marker and basically said, like, if you need to take notes, while you're taking the test, you're free to use this board. And basically I had to have some noise cancellation headphones, and then I had this whiteboard and this pen, and that's all I had. And I was just sitting in front of a computer monitor, and I had to take the test. So I got my results right away. So when I got my results, it said that I passed my exam. So of course I was excited, and I was just like telling everyone like I passed the exam. If you follow up with my Instagram and my community board, you will also see that I posted that I passed my medical assistant exam. So yeah, that's the good news of what I've been doing since the job interview. Now to the bad news. So unfortunately, I think the day that I attended the job interview was like it was September 11th that I attended this job interview. And a few days later, let's say September 15th, I got an email from them saying, hey, thank you for applying for the City MD, but unfortunately, you aren't selected at this location. And if you had watched my video, you know that I had said, if you got denied at one location, that basically means you can't apply for any of the other locations. So when I saw that email saying I got denied, I was confused because when I was talking to the office manager and, her colleague, when they were both interviewing me, I strongly felt like that interview went well, but, when I got that email, I was shocked. So, I called the location and I'm like, hey, I had this interview a few days ago and I got this email saying that I was rejected. I was just wondering if I could get in touch with the manager to kind of clarify what my status is. So the person was like, oh, the manager isn't here right now. You can leave your name or your number and the manager will get back to you. So I did that. And so a week had passed and, I still didn't hear back from the manager. And so today, not today, but this week, today right now is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, October 11th, I believe. So I believe on Monday, I had called again and I was just like, hey, I had an interview last month and I got an email a few days after my interview saying that I was rejected. I tried to call the office so I could speak with the manager to clarify my status, but she never called me back. And I just asked, was she on site? And they told me no, she was on site. Basically to leave my name and a number and they'll call me back. I still haven't received a call back. In the meantime, the school that I went to for my medical assistant program, they send us job listings almost, if not every day, every other day, saying that so and so place is hiring. So um, I just had a job interview at a dermatology office. Um, for me, personally, I feel like it's a good office. Basically, at this new job interview, the lady was telling me that they don't really do any, since it's a dermatology office, they don't do any medical assisting duties, at least not the clinical ones. It's more of just like the administrative medical assistant stuff, like answering the phones, or scheduling appointments and stuff like that, or checking insurance. Um, the office manager at this dermatology office also told me that there's not really room for, I guess, advancement. Because she was basically telling me how she started off as a medical assistant. And the reason why she's the office manager now is because I guess the office manager that was there when she was there got sick. And so basically, they had offered her the position as the office manager. And she's been working there now for 22 years. She also has her daughter working at the site. And she had trained her daughter in a few things around the office, but she was saying that, I know, I guess she was saying that her daughter doesn't want to be a medical assistant, but she basically knows how to do the receptionist part of the job there. Um, and I just feel like one of the red flags I noticed at this office was that, you know, how traditionally they say, like, if you work at a medical office, you know, you're not supposed to have like crazy colored hair. Like, basically, your hair color is supposed to be neutral. But I noticed a few girls there had red hair. Um, it wasn't like a bright red. It was more of like, just it was like dark red hair. But I just feel like that, like coming to the medical office and seeing somebody with dyed hair is kind of not a part of traditional, like the traditional, how you say, like appearance of a medical assistant. And then I saw somebody else like with a tattoo. And I feel like if you're working at a medical office, you shouldn't have your tattoo visible. Like I know there's a lot of modern day approaches now to what is workplace etiquette. But for me, like when I had saw her, like the receptionist sitting there, she had red hair and she had a tattoo. I'm like, whoa. Like for me, that was like kind of like a shock because when I was in my medical assistant program and they're telling us about, like workplace environment, like they're telling us like all these old fashioned rules, but I'm stepping into the dermatologist's office and I'm seeing these things. And I feel like if you're wearing scrubs, you're allowed to wear undershirt under your scrubs. So I feel like with the young lady that I saw with the tattoo, she could have at least wore a long sleeve shirt to cover her tattoo, and she didn't. So that kind of threw me off. Another thing that I noticed at this office as well, there was another girl with tips on, and like usually, like same thing. When you're working in a medical office, you're not supposed to have long nails. And I feel like she had like pretty long, like they weren't like tapered square type nails. They were like long, like long tips, and they were pink. She had like pink and black like designs on them. So like it seems like everyone there knows their stuff and knows their role, what they're supposed to do in the office. But it's just like their appearance just didn't look right to me. And also I noticed that a lot of people there had like long hair and their hair was not tied back. Like I know sometimes like if you wear a bun a lot, that can lead to hair loss. But it's like at least a ponytail or, some type of braided up dude. Like it doesn't tradition as long as your hair is tied back. I feel like only one person had her hair tied back. Nobody else had their hair tied back. And also when you were at the office, like before you even step inside the office, when you're on the outside of the office, they have a sign that says to ring the bell before you come in the office. But then there's no bell. And so I had to knock on the window and knock on the door before somebody came outside. And I noticed like during my interview was at 12:15. I didn't leave the office till 2 o'clock. And I understand that, when you're in the medical office, like when you're doing interviews during the workday, you have to stop and take care of patients and do the interviews. But I'm like, there's no reason why I should have been there for 2 hours. Um, and yeah, so I noticed like how I was saying, like there was no bell. So I guess one of the patients had came for an appointment. And so he was also like knocking on the door like I had to do. And so the medical assistant, I guess she's coming to answer the door, but it's like she's like taking her time to go answer the door. And one of the other patients that was in the waiting room ended up having to open the door for that patient trying to come in. And it's like I guess when she saw that the other patient had went to go open the door for him, like she was like I guess in her head she was like, oh, never mind. So she just went back, like toward the examination rooms. But it's like you weren't even putting in an effort to go open the door for the patient. So, it's like she was lollygagging. But not to say like I don't work there personally, but looking from the outside in, like I don't know, like the office manager told me that they would get back to me on Friday about that job position, but it's like I don't even want to work there, honestly, like seeing those type of like behaviors in the office. Like, like I don't want that to reflect on me, you know? Like if I'm there, trying to be like by the book and be productive, and then I see coworkers around me doing certain things, I feel like that's gonna negatively affect my work productivity. So yeah. So that's basically it. This is the end of this video. If you guys want to see more medical assistant related content, please let me know. Um, I would definitely make more videos related to more medical assistant, you know, um, like basically tips on like how to get through the medical assistant program. If you guys want to know like what courses I had to go through in my medical assistant program, or if you guys want to know any tips that I have of how to get through internship, what sites I would recommend to go to for internship, um, stuff like that, just please let me know. In the meantime, see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, be blessed. Bye.